We're talking with Michael Cohen. He writes for The Guardian US. He's also a fellow at the Century Foundation. Michael, talking about President Obama's trip to Israel more broadly and the ramifications it might have for the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and peace talks, you seem to think that not much is going to come of this. Why is that?
Well, I mean, my sense of it is that there's not a lot of there behind the speech that Obama gave. Now, I should say, I think he gave a really impressive speech, and I think in many respects this was a somewhat historic moment. He said certain things that American presidents have not said to Israelis, ever. The problem is that it's a little late for that. Is sort of my view of this. There are harder truths that Obama could have spoken to Israelis yesterday, and I think he sort of danced along the sort of line of really being incredibly provocative in what he said, and I think it speaks to somewhat to how constricted the debate about Israel is in the U.S. that you can only sort of say so much. What concerns me, though, is that I didn't see anything in that speech that suggested that Obama is about to launch, a diplomatic initiative to sort of push the peace process forward. Certainly nothing that would indicate he's willing to put pressure on the Israelis to make certain concessions for peace. And until I see evidence of either one of those two, even the former, even an indication he'll send Secretary of State Kerry to the region, I don't see, what comes of this. What I found, I was sort of shocked by the amount of praise that was thrown on this speech. Because you think about it, Israelis generally accept the idea of a two-state solution. I mean, 70% or so accept the idea of two-state. They accept Palestinian state being along the 67 borders. There's relative consensus in Israel about this issue. What holds Israelis back is the belief by almost a similar percentage of Israelis that there's no path to peace, that there's no partner for peace. And that's kind of where they need to be reassured and where they need to be sort of shown that path. And Obama didn't really do that. I mean, I give him credit because he did actually say that the Palestinian Authority leadership is a partner for peace, which is it's important, and I'm glad he said it. But that should have been, I think, the focal point of what he was saying. Certainly should have been more emphasized more strongly. And I just think until the president lays out a path or lays out what a final solution settlement might look like, I just think it's hard to get too excited about one speech.
We're talking with Michael Cohen of The Guardian US. Michael, we're going to take a short break, but when we continue, I want to talk a little bit more about this issue, as well as some of the broader regional issues that are sort of taking hold in the Middle East, including obviously Syria's civil war now seeming to turn into a huge conflagration of violence and what implications that might have. You're listening to Take Action News. Stay tuned after this.